We had started with conceptual modeling of data warehouses. There are three types of schemas here: star schema, snowflake schema, and fact constellation. Coming to our first schema, star schema, it is defined as here: a fact table is placed in the middle, which is connected to a set of dimension tables. Snowflake schemas are similar to your star schemas, but the only difference here is that it includes normalization of dimension hierarchy. So, star schema, a fact table in the middle is connected to set of dimension tables. In Snowflake schema, a refinement of star schema. It is a refinement of star schema, and here's some dimensional hierarchy is normalized into a set of smaller dimension tables, and it is forming a shape of like similar to snowflake. That's why it is called as snowflake schema. Third type of schema is fact constellations. Here multiple fact tables are sharing dimension tables. Multiple fact tables share the dimension tables, and it is basically it looks like a collection of stars. So it's also called as galaxy schema or fact constellation. So in today's lecture, we are going to solve one example on star schema. The question is given as follows. It says that ABC College wants you to help design a star schema to record grades for courses completed by students. There are four dimension tables here, which includes along with the attributes. The first dimension table is course section, second is professor, third is student, the fourth dimension table is period. So yeah, so these are your four dimension tables along with the attributes. So the first dimension table, course section, contains the attributes: course ID, section number, course name, units, room ID, and room capacity. Second dimension table, professor, contains the attributes: professor ID, professor name, title, department ID, and department name. Third dimension table is student. It contains attributes like student ID, student name, and major. Fourth dimension table is period. It contains the attributes semester ID and year. So these are the four dimension tables which are mentioned here. But we also need a fact table. So we know that for the fact table we need one very important ingredient, which is called as measure. So here the fact, in the fact table, the fact which is to be recorded is the course grade. So course grade is the measure. So this is the fact which has to be recorded in the fact table, and we have to design a star schema for this problem. So let us proceed one by one, step by step here. So I'm going to start with my step number one. So what will be my step number one here? Step number one is I'm going to begin with the dimension tables. I'm going to begin with the dimension tables. So how many dimension tables are given in the question? In the question there are given four dimension tables: course section, professor, student, and period. I'll draw them one by one here. So for first dimension table is course section. Course section. It includes various values here or attributes here, which includes course section ID, then course ID, section number, course number, course name, units, and let me include what else the values are there given. Units, then room ID and room capacity. Room capacity. These are the values which I can write in the first dimension table here. The second dimension table which is given here is professor. So let me create that also. The second dimension table is professor. So my first value to be placed here is professor ID, then professor name. I'm going to list down all the attributes inside this dimension table. Okay, title, I can also place title, then department ID and department name. So I'm done with my two dimension tables. My third dimension table is as given here. My third dimension table is student along with the attributes student ID, name and major. So let me create student dimension table as well. This is my third dimension table, student. Okay, what are the attributes which were given there? The first attribute is student ID. Second attribute is student name. Then third attribute was major. So this I have done here. My fourth dimension table is the fourth dimension table given in the question is period. The attribute here, period ID, semester ID and year. Okay, so now I have created all the four dimensions as given in the question. I have created a four dimension tables. Now what else is given? We require a fact table. So we know as per the definition that a fact table is always placed at the middle. So in the middle or in the center, I'm going to create a fact table here. So let us name it as course fact. Okay, so what will I do here is that all the primary keys placed in this dimension tables like course section ID, professor ID, student ID and period ID, I can write it inside this fact table. Period ID. And yes, now I have written all the primary keys of all these four dimension tables. So as you can see here, there are four primary keys of the four dimension tables. I have listed down course section ID, professor ID, student ID and period ID. Now one more important thing here which I'm missing out, I have to list that also. What is that value here? This one, the measure, the course ID, sorry, the measure here which is the course grade. Okay, so course grade is the measure which is given and which I have to show it in the fact table. So I'm going to write that course grade. So this is the fact which, let me list down properly. That is the fourth this thing which I have to specify, which what is the fourth one, that is course grade. This is the fact which I have to highlight. So over here these are belonging to your dimension tables. These four values are belonging to a dimension tables here. Let me just, okay, So this first value is taken from the first dimension table, which is course section ID. So I'm going to specify it with an arrow. The second value in the fact table comes from the second dimension table, which is professor. The third value here comes from the table student, and the fourth value comes from the dimension table period. So this is how you have to show that with an arrow. Just a minute. Yeah. So yeah, the period ID comes from the table period, and this is what course grade is measure. It is my measure which is required to represent a fact table. So always remember that for we require measure for calculation part. That's the most important ingredient in a fact table. So yeah, okay, so this was an example of your this thing. So step number one is creating dimension tables, and step number two will be, what will be your step number two here? Step number two basically includes creating fact tables, or okay, step number two is creating fact tables and fact tables. Step number one, dimension tables, listing all the values. Step number two, creating fact tables. And what will be your step number three here? What is your step three? As we have discussed, step three is basically you are actually placing all the values here, right? Inside the fact table. Step three is listing down the values and showing the connections. We are actually showing the connections here. Okay. So this was an example of star schema. In the coming lecture, we'll see more examples on star schema and also snowflake schemas. Okay, thank you for listening.